Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make a chocolate chip sheet cake. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I'm so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. This recipe is the perfect, quick and easy snack cake. I think you're going to love its soft texture, the fact that it is absolutely loaded with chocolate chips, and the super simple buttercream frosting. Let's go ahead and get started by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for today's recipe, you're going to need a large mixing bowl, and in it we are going to combine 8 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter with 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar. Now you'll want to use either your stand mixer or an electric hand mixer. And we'll cream everything together until the butter and the sugar are really well combined. If you're using a hand mixer, they may not get super creamy, but you want to make sure everything is incorporated and, like I said, really well combined. All right, this is looking pretty good. So next we are going to add 1 large egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. We'll just stir these in as well. So your next ingredient is 1 1/4 cups of buttermilk. I'm just going to pour this in while stirring the rest of my ingredients. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl really briefly. And we'll just set this aside and grab a separate bowl for your dry ingredients. Now, we're starting with 2 cups of all-purpose flour here, and we'll add 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Briefly whisk these together until they're well combined. All right, now let's bring back our butter mixture, and we're just going to add all of that flour mixture right in there. Now, you don't want to use your electric mixer at all anymore at this point, or you run the risk of over mixing your batter. We're just going to switch to a spatula, and I'm just going to use this to gently fold the ingredients together. Now I'm only going to stir things together until they're about 75% combined, and then I'm going to add my chocolate chips. So we are using mini chocolate chips for today's recipe. This is 1 cup, and you want to toss them in now. I like to add them at this point rather than sooner or later because it helps them to incorporate into the batter really well. But if you wait until you've completely combined the wet and dry ingredients, you really run the risk of over mixing your batter, which can leave you with a dense and dry cake. So 75% of the way works best. Now we'll just continue to fold everything together until the cake batter is nice and smooth and completely combined, but again, you don't want to overmix it. Today's recipe is a sheet cake. We are making it in a jelly roll pan, and before you add your batter, you just want to give this a quick spray with baking spray. If you don't have baking spray, just lightly grease and flour it. I just use a napkin to spread it evenly over the bottom and a little bit on the sides too. Now we'll spread this batter evenly into the baking pan, and it is a pretty thick batter. That is necessary because you need to keep those chocolate chips nice and suspended, so don't worry if it seems a little thick, it's supposed to be that way. We'll just use our spatula to smooth it out so we have a nice even layer. All right, this is looking beautiful, so we'll take it over to our preheated oven where it's going to need to bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. When it's finished baking, you may notice the edges are beginning to turn light golden brown in color, and a toothpick inserted in the center should come out clean or with a few moist crumbs. If it comes out chocolatey, just try again. You just did a chocolate chip. All right, this cake looks beautiful, but we are going to set it aside and we are not going to add our frosting to it until it is completely cool. However, this sheet cake does kind of cool pretty quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and start preparing the frosting now. To do this, you are just going to place 2 sticks of softened butter in a large mixing bowl, and just grab your electric mixer with clean beaters, and we're just going to beat the butter until it's nice and creamy. Okay, so once the butter is creamy, we can start adding our powdered sugar. You'll need 3 1/2 cups of powdered sugar total, and we are just going to gradually stir that in with the butter. Now, once I've added about half the sugar, I like to add my vanilla extract and salt. We'll add 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and just 1/8 teaspoon of salt, which helps keep the buttercream from being too sweet. It just makes the flavor a little bit better. And we will continue to add sugar until we've added all of our sugar. All right, because we want this buttercream to be nice and creamy and easy to spread, I also have measured out 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and I'm just going to stir these into the batter until we have a lighter, creamier consistency. I always just start with 1 tablespoon and only add the second if I feel like it's necessary. I think I do want to go ahead and add the second today. And you'll notice the frosting becomes lighter in color. It's really pretty. It has a really nice consistency from adding the cream. If you don't have cream, you could use milk. You just want to use a little bit less since it's thinner. Okay, our frosting could be ready to go at this point. You can put it on your cake just like this, but I also wanted to show you guys how to make a chocolate version because this is what I've been doing recently. I've been making this cake a lot, and I just wanted to show you how to quickly make a chocolate version. All you need is 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. Just toss that in. You don't need to make any other changes, and we'll just stir the cocoa powder in until you have a smooth frosting. All right, once your cake is cooled, let's go ahead and decorate it by simply spreading the frosting over top. And that's what I love about sheet cakes or snack cakes like this one. They are so low maintenance. You don't have to worry about doing any pretty piping. You don't have to worry about your decorating skills. Just slap it on there and spread it and you're good to go. Now the final thing that you need for a chocolate chip sheet cake is a few more chocolate chips. Once again, I'm using mini chocolate chips and I'm just gonna scatter these over top. You never know when to stop. I usually do too many chocolate chips. All right, my favorite part, now we get to dig in. Let's go ahead and cut into this beautiful cake, beautiful, simple cake. I really need to get better about cutting my slices to be a little bit bigger than my spatula. It would make things a lot easier for me. That is how you make a super simple chocolate chip sheet cake. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe. If you tried this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you are team chocolate or team vanilla frosting. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I love this.